This is the AB4WS radio show. Every week, bringing you the exciting amateur radio news and information happening in the greater Cincinnati, Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana areas.
The AB4WS radio show can be found on the Apple Podcast app or your favorite podcast application. If you've never toured the World War II museum ship, the LST-325, you've really missed out. But it is traveling down the Ohio and will be visiting some of the ports of call in this area this month. From September 5th through September 10th, they'll be anchored in Wheeling, West Virginia. From September 12th through September 15th, they'll be in Marietta, Ohio. The ship has 2 meters and an HF rig on board, and I've worked them a few times through the years and have toured the vessel when it was in Cincinnati a few years ago. I highly recommend trying to tour the vessel. You will not be disappointed. For more information, go to lstmemorial.org. The National Radio Astronomy Observatory, funded by ARDC grant, has developed 2 no-cost, self-paced online courses on the Supernova platform that introduce amateur radio-related fundamental concepts. These courses were created in an effort to not only get learners licensed, but also grow the amateur radio community, contributing to the hobby's longevity. If you are interested in becoming a ham radio operator, or you're already a ham radio operator and just need a refresher, or you're simply interested in the fundamentals of electromagnetic spectrum as it applies to you, check out one of these courses. The Technician Amateur Radio License course can be found at superknova.org/technician-course. For the General Amateur Radio License course, go to superknova.org/general-course. From Wednesday, September 4th through September 10th, the HandiHam program will be on the air with their annual HandiHam Radio Camp in Minneapolis, Minnesota, with multiple HF stations active every day throughout the week. Their goal is to help recently licensed campers get familiar with HF operations and in some cases make their very first HF contact. It will also help experienced campers to have fun on the bands and play around with the different antenna setup. They will be primarily on sideband and CW. Campers will use their own call signs and also the 2 HandiHam call signs of W0ZSW and W0EQO. So listen out for these HandiHams and give them a contact. September 7th is the Ohio State Parks on the Air event from $1,400 UTC to $2,200 UTC. For more information, go to ospota.org. The Okayan Amateur Radio Society will be participating in the Ohio State Parks on the Air event at the Little Miami State Park from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. using only voice communications. They'll be setting up at the Pavilion at 25 Kibbe Avenue in Morrow, Ohio, right next to the bike trail. For more information, contact Chessie, KD8OOB. September 7th is the Young's Charity Bike Ride at 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Amateur radio volunteers are needed to cover the riders in a large area from Young's to almost Xenia, Ohio. If you can help out, contact Bob, N8ADO, by emailing him at n8ADO@woh.rr.com. On September 7th, the Harrison County Amateur Radio Club will be hosting an all-day event for the Limestone Cycling League. My KN4COE will be the net control and will be stationary across from the Valerio gas station in downtown Maysville, Kentucky. Other club members will be out chasing the bikes. September 7th through the 15th is one of my favorite events, the Route 66 on-air event. This year, 23 clubs located across the Route 66 landscape will be operating special one-by-one calls for the event with special QSL cards and certificates available. For more information on the 2024 Route 66 on-the-air event, go to w6jbt.org. The Bluegrass Amateur Radio Society will hold their annual Family and Friends Picnic on September 9th at 5 p.m. at the Shiloh Park Shelter No. 2. The Letcher County Amateur Radio Club and the Pine Mountain Search and Rescue will be conducting a free ham radio class starting on September 12th at 6 p.m. The class will take 4 weeks and will meet each Thursday night from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. The class is open to the public, but space is limited. Priority will be given to the search and rescue members. The exam will be given at the end of the class. For more information, go to the Letcher County Amateur Radio Club Facebook page. On September 14th at 1 p.m., the Brunch Bunch will meet at the Acapulco Authentic Restaurant, 5953 Boymel Drive in Fairfield, Ohio. On September 15th at 7 p.m. is the new Comers and Elmers Net on the Okayan Amateur Radio Society repeater 146.670 with a PL tone of 123.0, where Robert, K4PKM, will help those who are moving to get their general license and enter the world of HF radio with all the information that they can use to make that transition smoothly. On September 16th, the Northern Kentucky Amateur Radio Club will be meeting at 7 p.m. at the Bethesda Community Church, 989 East Mount Zion Road in Independence, Kentucky. Stay tuned to learn about the presentation for this meeting. The Lake Cumberland Amateur Radio Association will be working the Lake Cumberland Airshow at the Lake Cumberland Regional Airport on September 21st, where they'll be setting up the MCON trailer and demonstrating amateur radio to the visiting community, as well as setting up a speaker for the audio and performing pilots at the Airshow. If you're interested in helping out, reach out to Mike, KY6MM. The Air Force Marathon is looking for some amateur radio operators to volunteer to provide communications assistance for the event on Saturday, September 21st in the area of the National Museum of the U.S. Air Force. For more information on how to volunteer, contact Bob, N8ADO, at afm.hams@gmail.com. On September 23rd at 7 p.m., the Amateur Radio Emergency Team of Northern Kentucky will meet at the Bethesda Community Church, 989 East Mount Zion Road in Independence, Kentucky. This will be the first meeting of the new directors and should outline the future training, projects, exercises, and other interesting things the club will undertake. So if you're interested in helping out with amateur radio communications, come on out to the meeting. The Lake Cumberland Amateur Radio Association on September 28th will be at the Summernites Cruise Corvette Summer Showcase. Again, setting up the MCOM trailer and running special event station K4S again this year. If you're interested in this event, reach out to Mike, KY6MM. The third annual Summits on the Air Kentucky Campout will be held on the weekend of April 12, 2025 with a pancake breakfast at 8 a.m. on Sunday morning. Make your reservations now by calling 606-589-2478 at the Kingdom Come State Park, which is a primitive campground with limited running water and a privy toilets with the nearest town in Cumberland, Kentucky. For more information, contact Michael, N4DCW.
Repeater news.
The Bluegrass Amateur Radio Society reports that the new 224.800 repeater is playing very well. Check it out. The Henderson County, Kentucky DMR repeater is up and running on 145.660 color code 1 with talk group 3121 Kentucky statewide on time slot 2.
Hamfests.
September 7th is the Greater Louisville Hamfest at the Parquet Springs Conference Center, 395 Parquet Springs Drive in Shepherdsville, Kentucky. Talking will be on the 146.700 machine with a PL of 79.7. September 8th is the Findlay, Ohio Hamfest at the Hancock County Fairgrounds, 1017 East Sandusky Street in Findlay, Ohio. Talking on the 147.150 repeater with a PL of 88.5. On September 14th, from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. is the Richmond, Kentucky Hamfest at the Madison County Fairgrounds, 3237 Old Kentucky Highway 52 in Richmond, Kentucky. On September 14th is the Mound Amateur Radio Association Hamfest Swap Meet at 900 Mound Road in Miamisburg, Ohio, from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. For more information, contact Jason, N8CMM, at jspot1677@gmail.com. On September 22nd is the Cleveland, Ohio Hamfest at the Cuyahoga County Fairgrounds, 164 Eastland Road in Berea, Ohio. Talking on the 145.410 repeater with a PL of 110.9. September 28th is the Paintsville KY4ARC Hamfest at the Paintsville Recreation Center, 232 Preston Street in Paintsville, Kentucky. For more information, go to ky4arc.com. The Bluegrass Amateur Radio Society in Lexington, Kentucky Hamfest, originally scheduled for October the 5th, has been canceled. October 5th is the Northwest Ohio Amateur Radio Club Hamfest at the New Hope Christian Center, 2240 Batty Drive in Elida, Ohio. Talking on the 146.670 repeater with a 118.8 PL tone. October 5th is the Scioto Valley Amateur Radio Club Hamfest at the Pike County Fairgrounds, 311 Mill Street in Piketon, Ohio. October 19th from 8 a.m. to noon at the Lawfrey Valley Fall Hamfest at the Brighton, Indiana Lions Club, 2160 Lamplight Drive in Lawrenceburg, Indiana. October 27th is the MARC Hamfest at the Military Aviation Preservation Society, 2260 International Parkway in North Canton, Ohio. The Grant Radio Club has announced the return of the Georgetown, Ohio, Hamfest this year on November the 9th from 8 a.m. to 12:30 p.m.
Are you looking to upgrade your license? Do you have someone else that's interested in the hobby? Here are some upcoming exam opportunities.
The Milford Amateur Radio Club holds amateur radio testing on the third Thursday of each month at 6 p.m. at the Miami Township Civic Center, 6101 Meyer Drive in Milford, Ohio. Please pre-register at milfordhamradio.org. The Dayton Amateur Radio Association has exams frequently. For their exam schedule, email exams.w8bi@gmail.com. The Moorhead Amateur Radio Society will host an amateur radio exam session on September 5th at 6 p.m. at 99 Lake Park Drive in Moorhead, Kentucky. On September 14th at 10 a.m., the Westchester Amateur Radio Association will host an amateur radio exam session at the Voice of America Museum, 8070 Tylersville Road in Westchester, Ohio. Please pre-register at hamstudy.org/session/WC8VOA. On September 14th, the Richmond Hamfests will have a testing session around noon. Go to kn4s.com/amateur.html. On September 16th at 5:30 p.m., the Northern Kentucky Amateur Radio Club will hold an amateur radio exam session at the Bethesda Community Church, 989 East Mount Zion Road in Independence, Kentucky. You must register by emailing Mark Volstead, AI4BJ@MVOLSTAD@TWC.com. On October 12th at 10 a.m., the Westchester Amateur Radio Association will host an amateur radio exam session at the Voice of America Museum, 8070 Tylersville Road in Westchester, Ohio. Please pre-register at hamstudy.org/sessions/WC8VOA. On November 9th at 10 a.m., the Westchester Amateur Radio Association will host an amateur radio exam session at the Voice of America Museum, 8070 Tylersville Road in Westchester, Ohio. Please pre-register at hamstudy.org/sessions/WC8VOA. On December 7th at 10 a.m., the amateur radio exam session will be held at the Georgetown Police Department, 550 Bourbon Street in Georgetown, Kentucky. You must register at hamstudy.org/sessions/WX4GPS. Special thanks to this week's content contributors: KE4WA, KY4GW, WB8YYS, KD8ZLD, K9HIO, N8LAR, K4NKU.
If you have something you think other amateur radio operators in the area would be interested in, send the information or your recorded audio file attached in an email to ab4ws.radio@gmail.com.
Covering your amateur radio news and information in the greater Cincinnati, Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana tri-state area. This is Jack Prindle, AB4WS in Big Bone, Kentucky.